Welcome to Seeking the Truth today. Seeking the Truth is a production of the Crossville Church of Christ, located in Crossville, Alabama. 16019, Alabama Highway 68, Crossville, Alabama 35962. Jonah 1, 1, 2, and 3. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah the son of Amittai, saying, Arise and go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry out against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah arose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went down into it to go with them to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. Well, it's summertime. It's time when we're vacationing and enjoying ourselves outside, backyard barbecues and picnics. And there's nothing wrong with relaxation. There's nothing wrong with rest. God rested, so should we. However, oftentimes when people travel or when things are going on in the summer, we might put God on the back burner. Don't do that. You know that is wrong. Don't forsake the assembling of yourselves together. Do not do God's work in God's way in this wonderful time of year that God has blessed us with. Today, let's consider some lessons from Jonah. The Lord's commands are clear. He tells Christians through our pattern, His Word, when to act, where to go. For instance, go into all the world. And what to do? Preach. Mark 16, verse 15 and 16. He also provides the means for following His directions again in His Word. As long as we yield to it, we can follow His directions. The prophet Jonah was told to leave immediately for a certain city and cry out this warning, Yet 40 days, and Nineveh will be overthrown. Jonah 3, verse 4. Instead, Jonah did something foolish and altogether human. He ran from God. Because he was a prophet, he should have known God's commands and should have known God's seriousness about them. Evidently, his own desire clouded his better judgment. He even thought he could flee from God's presence. Jonah was wrong. God sent a great storm, isolated him at sea. He was tossed into the sea, and he spent 3 days in the belly of a great smelly fish. In other words, the Lord didn't relent until the prophet agreed to do what he said for him to do. Jonah repented. And Nineveh repented. But still, he didn't like that too much either. Jonah serves as a great lesson for each of us. That running away from the Lord doesn't release us from His commands. Whether we refuse straight out or quietly choose to pursue our own agenda, we simply cannot silence the call of the gospel to go. For God has still said what He has said, and our Father will neither forget a directive that He has given us in His Word, or change His mind. I know that we're on vacation in the summertime, and yet we're not on vacation from God. Remember not to forsake the assembling of yourselves together as you travel. Remember to do God's work in God's way, right in your backyard, as those barbecues and those out-time events like picnics are taking place. Friend, if we continue to water, we continue to sow, we continue to work in God's kingdom during the summer, He will give the increase. People who run from God's directive, people who run from what the Bible says, can't silence it. They can't ignore it. And friends, we must comply with it. I hope you have a great day.